Jordan Watson.
Wait.
Nailed it.
A beer between two beers.
Welcome to Between Two Beers. Now, just chatting pre-recording, Export Ultra is your go-to beer?
I know it sounds like a setup, like some amazing branded piece, but it is. I was stoked that you had the low carb stuff here. You know, it keeps the dad bod from turning too much of a dad blob.
The Rig Watcher.
Yeah.
The Rig Watcher, as it's called in circles now.
I try to convert so many people onto getting on the low carb train. Yeah, once you do the maths, it's like, I think it's like 6 of these low carb beers to 1 regular beer in terms of carbs.
Is it?
Yeah.
I'm no mathematician, but that sounds good.
It actually is.
Yeah.
So once you learn that, you're like, geez, because once you hit 30, it's hard to fight that stuff back. So if there's a beer that can help you, then
You're doing it.
it's basically Powerade. That's what I view it as.
It might be the best plug we've ever had
Ever.
from a guest on Export.
Ever.
Well done. Look, we are very excited to have you in the Export Beer Garden studio today. You might have carved out the most unique career path, I reckon, out of any of our former 126 guests.
128.
128 guests.
128 guests.
8 years since your first viral How to Dad vid dropped. Do you pinch yourself at like what has happened in those last 8 years?
Yeah, it's so strange. Like you say, the weirdest kind of setup and job. There's never been like a blue book or a Bible or a manual on how to be an internet video guy. So it's been 8 years of just winging it and making it up and seeing how it goes. And there's been a shit ton of pinch yourself moments, like some really cool opportunities have come from it. And there's times where it starts to feel now and then like a regular job, and then you've got to pause again and be like, hang on, you're your own boss. You work from home. You can do kind of what you want. If you want to work half day and then go fishing, I can kind of do that some days. So it's pretty bloody good.
But you still generally run like a 9 to 5 operation, right, on weekdays?
Yeah, I weirdly took my normal job hours that everyone does, and once I quit and started doing this full time back in 2017 is when I like committed to it and just carried on doing full time business hours, and was kind of burning myself. I did that for a couple of years and was kind of burning myself out a bit. And my wife kind of noticed that and said, you know, you can relax a bit. Like, you don't have a boss.
Yeah.
Like my wife's, I think it was after she said this to me, I felt way better, but she's like, I'm not like judging you. Like, if you want to relax a day or like have a day off during the week or go and do something for your own, I'm like, really?
Yeah.
I don't have to work 9 to 5 every day? She's like, no. Oh, thank God. Because it isn't a 9 to 5. Yeah. Videos are usually going up at like 7 p.m. because that's when people are online.
Make a note of that 7 p.m. We've got to
there you
as
go.
many tips
And
as
then
we
you
can.
got to be checking in case a video's bloody gone terrible, you know, and people are writing things like, how could you have ever done this? That's your biggest fear, that you're going to be cancelled over one bloody mistake that you thought was a cool little video idea. So as soon as you post, you're kind of keeping an eye out on it for the next hour just to check how it's been. And then once that hour's done, you can relax and just let it go out into the internet world.
I think that thinking explains your success, that you feel almost guilty taking a day off because there is so much grind and so much hustle involved in getting to where you are. But Shay sent me some numbers this morning. 172 million video views on YouTube, 300 million views on Facebook. Is it hard? It's hard. It's certainly hard for us. Is it hard for you to wrap your head around how many people that actually is that have consumed your content?
Yeah, short answer is yes. Like, it sounds like a ridiculous number, but you can't put that. Like I had heard on the previous podcast, Tom Sainsbury talking about it and saying, 1,000 people might react to a video, but like imagine if you had 172 million in a bloody stadium clapping for you once you hit post and being like, or just giving you a thumbs up. Like, no, everyone's silent and just puts a silent Facebook thumb up in the air. And I'd be like, whoa, look at everyone who's just seen that. But you don't get that. So it is hard. It is hard to figure out.
That's the tangible way that Stephen has used for me to kind of correlate how many people listen to what we're doing. Is like, imagine a stadium full of people. That's how many people have downloaded us. Times that by thousands to reach your level it's incredible.
It's nuts. Yeah. And I've got nothing else to say on it apart from it's absolutely nuts.
I listened to an interview you did a few years back, and you referred to yourself as a Z grade Kiwi celeb.
Yeah.
Is that? I feel like you with those numbers, you're up there. You're climbing.
Well,
you're climbing the letters.
Celebs are usually, your fancy TV people are celebs, or your radio guys are celebs, but internet people Do you really? Yeah, look, that is self-deprecating saying I call myself a Z-list celebrity. And I might be I could be an E grade or a D grade. But mate, you can't hit A-list. You can't hit A-list being a weird internet dad.
I've been asked a few times what list we're on, and I'm not sure. I'd love to know who curates these lists.
We're Z. No, I think
we are Z.
Yeah, we're Z. I think you judge celebrity based on, for us, when I tell people who's coming on the podcast, unanimously, everyone I said, how do dads coming on? Everyone knew who you were.
Yep.
Like, you must get that walking down the street. You're so recognizable. So many millions of people have seen you.
Yeah.
Is it every day?
Yeah. There's my wife notices it way more than I do because Kiwis are so polite. It's such a weird thing having people look at you and all this. But you'll go down the street and let's say we go to a mall for an hour and then we'll get back in the car and my wife's like, geez, everyone was recognizing you today. I was like, I didn't notice a single thing because Kiwis will walk past you and then as soon as they're past you, they'll turn and they do the whisper.
Yeah.
And I'm the typical dad that's always leading the family wherever we're going. So she hears it all. She's like 2 meters behind with the kids. And so she hears all the whispers like, oh, that's that guy, that's out of dad. Oh my God, you should have got a photo. I didn't get a photo. And so I usually miss a lot of it. But yeah, you get photos and the pinch myself moments have been, we got flown to China for a gig to promote Shanghai for tourism. And, you know, there's 100,000 people standing at an intersection ready to cross the road. And this little Chinese woman who would have been like 25, hardly spoke any English, is tugging on my shirt. And I'm already taller. And I just think, they're just like, oh, look, who's this big, tall tourist? And she's just like, how to dad? And I was just like, holy shit. I didn't even know you guys had Facebook or whatever over here. I thought you had your own version of it. But some cool moments from like overseas gigs we've done, or I've been in America and I've had people recognize me on the street and I'm just like, and it has blown their mind more than as much as it has mine. It's nuts that how far and wide it has spread. I remember you can go into analytics on like your YouTube channel and it'll
Put
tell
that
you
down, analytics.
It'll
7
tell
p.m.
you,
in analytics.
I'm not an analytics guy, but you can get into the back end and you can do the drop down on where your subscribers are from which country. And it's like Madagascar, 4 subscribers. Iran, 7 subscribers. Like 150 countries around the world. Like almost every country, I don't know how many there are. I think it's 192 countries. I don't know. I'm trying to sound fancy here.
Yeah.
But it's like every country in the world, there's a subscriber to How To Dad, and it blew my mind.
That's awesome.
That is so cool. And I'm so excited about telling the whole journey from when it started. But before we get there, I want to give a little taste of Jordan pre How To Dad.
Yeah.
And the story I've chosen is it's actually a business idea that we kind of have thought about getting into. And it's Memoirs of a Geezer. When you started your... the idea was to sort of interview and document people towards the end of their lives for their families.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, this was the idea. Have you had this idea?
Well, we're thinking of doing it in podcast form. You know, people can hire us to come in and we'll do a Between Two Beers episode.
That's a great thing. You can charge. Yeah.
With people.
So I think I've always been someone, a big ideas guy. Always had a little side thing or side thought, I'd love to try this. And that was one where I actually watched. It's funny that you brought this right up because just yesterday we needed to send a photo from our wedding off to some publisher that's doing an article on us. So I had to plug in the old hard drive from 10 years ago and get that wound up. And I remember my wife and I, when she was pregnant and when our first kids were really young, we did these videos and they're in a folder called 21st Videos. So it's because me growing up, I have no idea what my dad was like when he was 25 or 20 and he had a kid. So we sit down like once every 6 months and me and my wife would just speak to camera and tell our kids and it would show them when they're 21, right? We'll edit it up and they'll get to see what their mum and dad were like. And in it, there's a moment where my wife's pregnant. It's with my first kid who's now 10. So we're going back to 2013. She's pregnant with my first. And then it cuts to me talking in a mirror and I'm holding I've bought a DSLR camera and it's got a unit on it. So I've got a radio mic on, I've got headphones. And I'm like, by the way, because your mum's gone and got knocked up and we're going to go to one income, I've had to try and start a second thing. So I'm starting Memoirs of a Geezer. When you watch this, I'll either be real rich and loaded from Memoirs of a Geezer or it would have been a failure. And it was a pretty quick failure. The idea when you explain it to people, they're like, holy crap, that's amazing. Why isn't this taken off? But to be honest, I didn't put that much effort into it. So I came up with the idea and it was basically go and film with old people so you've got their story forever, right? So I went and did it with my 2 grandparents. So they were part of my show reel. One of them's passed since And I did it on my wife's, my father-in-law. I did one on him. He's passed away as well. So they really appreciate having them now. And then I got one gig by a guy that employed me. He got it for his father-in-law. It was a surprise for his wife, and that blew her mind. And the only like marketing I did was I'd made the Facebook page and got my 7 likes from like family members. And I printed off flyers and I just walked around my like 2 suburbs and put them into letterboxes. And because I never got an email or phone number back, I think I just gave up. I had no idea about how to get the word out. And, you try and quote it up and how much it would cost. But once you explain the idea to people, they're like, oh, that's great. But it's really hard because old people are never going to get it for themselves, pay for it to be done. And then so you're trying to convince a collective of their children. So let's say they have 3 kids. You kind of need to get everyone on board to pitch in and be like, this idea is great. Because you need all the photos from them and the stories, and it's a lot of research in that. But Memoirs of a Geezer. And then someone said the name was a bit too on the nose and old people might not like that. So then we changed it to Your Memoirs, thinking this is going to be the moment now. I've changed the name, I've softened it a bit. But no, it never took off. So you guys, I'm happy for you to take and run.
No thought of how to memoir?
Well, now, yeah, I could try it up now, but
Get back. You got the brand behind you now. Yeah, there is something about that that sort of legacy interview. We did an incredible one with Bushwhacker Butch before he passed, like a few months before he passed.
Yeah.
And just the ability for him to tell his whole story and get that captured, it just makes what you do seem really meaningful. So I can imagine those ones with your family members.
With my
valuable.
with my grandmother, and she passed away recently. But even just as you're sitting there recording it, like, you've always seen your grandparents and that through that filter of being a kid, and so you were always separated from their adult stories. And then once you actually sat down, and I had all these bullet points from, her kids to run through, and she starts telling these stories you've never heard. Like, what? Sorry, what now? You were bloody awesome when you were 23 riding on a motorbike with my granddad off to the war or whatever. So it was really cool, really cool.
I'm really proud. We've documented Stephen's dad, Bruce, on an episode when we started out. We've documented another friend of ours, Sam Wilkinson, his dad, Roger Wilkinson, that those will live on for their kids to kind of pick up and run with as well. It's a pretty powerful thing.
We're getting pretty deep and meaningful here, but my advice to anyone out there, because you hear people like, that's a great idea, is you can also just do this yourself. iPhones can record for like an hour. Set your iPhone up on your grandparent, sit down, have a yarn with them. You got it forever.
We're actually going to edit that bit out because it's our business idea, so that cannot ever hear the light of day.
Or scratch the 5K and pay these guys, and they'll do an amazing job.
There you go.
Except you got to, your grandparent has to sit there holding 2 export golds in each hand.
Yeah, beautiful. or an export ultra if they're rig watching.
Yes.
All right, I want to start getting into the backstory of How to Dad. And I actually remember a conversation I had with a friend when you first blew up like 8 years ago. And this friend was a bit pissed off because they found out that How to Dad actually had like a background in TV.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a really weird take on something which has been so universally loved. Like, it wasn't this authentic video that perhaps this person thought it was. But I did want to talk about the backstory because from what I understand, you were heading to radio school in Christchurch until your now wife, Jodie, sort of decided she was moving to Auckland, and that changed your course and sort of brought you into TV land. So can you take us to that point in your life with the radio TV crossover?
Yeah. So I went to Te Kaupata in Morrinsville College in the Waikato region, and I went to Morrinsville College. I did my last few years of school there up until 7th form. And unlike all my mates, I had no idea. Not just making it up, I had absolutely no idea what I wanted to be. And one mate said, I'm going to do a 6-month certificate in sport. I was, oh yeah. So I asked the careers advisor on like the second to last day of school. And she's like, oh, you've always been good at speeches. Like, I always won the speech competitions at school. So she's like, there's a radio course. It's only 5 months at Polytech in Tauranga. And straight away I was like, yeah, I'm going to do it because I can go flat with my mate. I had no interest in doing this radio course. Went there, met my now wife. She was part of it. And through this course of doing the radio, I got right into it. I loved it, flicking the switches and kind of editing the ads that they do, and you bring in a broken bottle sound effect and a cat meowing and a car horn, and I was always playing on that stuff. And then the lecturer, she always said she regretted never exploring the TV side. So there was only like 13 of us in the class, but they had a big day where they sat us down and they asked us, look, we've got the people from Christchurch Broadcasting School coming up. You can choose between TV, journalism, or radio. At the time, me and this new girlfriend, we'd only just started dating. And so they went around the circle saying, what's everyone going to want to do when there's people come, like if you want to explore it? And I was going to be saying journalism. I was thinking, I'm going to be the next Neil Walker. I'm going to be the 6 p.m. Neil Walker. I'm going to read the bloody news. And my girlfriend goes before me and she's like, oh no, I'm going to go up to Auckland and study TV up there. And it got to me and I was like, yeah, me, I'm going up to Auckland to study. I was just head over heels, all 18-year-old in love, bro. And so goodbye to that journalism thing, and followed her up to TV. She had done media at Tauranga Girls, so she knew how to hold a camera, what was left to right, everything. I knew absolutely nothing. Went up to this TV school for the interview. Basically, because I'm part Māori, I was just a tick, you're in. Like, people had to submit fancy-ass videos and that to get in, and we submitted the worst things. Like, I should try and dig it out and get it to you. It's somewhere, and it just... Like, one shot I'm walking left to right, the next time right to left, the shots are up. Like, it's so cringy bad. But did this 1 year of this film school. What did I do? I did documentary directing and production, and you could practice being a presenter. It was all a kind of mix. You kind of got chucked a camera in your hand. And so you left there with your diploma. And then I went, and like everyone who left that school, you just got the bum jobs on TV shows. So I worked behind the scenes in TV for a good amount of years. Eating media lunch, some really the Unauthorised History of New Zealand, all these shows that I worked on, the series that they ended up being cancelled, so I think I was the bad one coming along, but I worked on the very final season of Eating Media Lunch, then it was cancelled, and then they did the Unauthorised History of New Zealand, this is all with Jeremy Wells, and then that was cancelled, and they did Birdland with Jeremy Wells, and that was cancelled, and I was like, I'm going to go, so I went overseas on my OE for 2 years.
So we spoke to Jeremy Wells this morning, and he said he could tell already back then that you were destined for much bigger things than what you were doing on those shows.
Yeah, it could be just, that's very kind of him. It could have been just because I was eager to know what everyone was doing. That guy who always wanted fingers in all like the editor guy used to get real angry because I just stand behind him. I knew nothing about editing. Like film school, you didn't really touch on that stuff. And so I just stood behind him. And then I remember while I was working there, I shot my auntie's wedding, and I just sneak into the editing suite, and he came in one time and I was editing my auntie's wedding. So what are you doing? Like, the show's on there. Did you save and quit the show? Like, I was like, yeah, man, it's all good. I just, wait, give me a sec. I just got to put this Rod Stewart song in here.
It's a good reference. Timestamp it.
So was it Shade? Did you say he's like the Forrest Gump of New Zealand media? He's just kind of connected to all these incredible shows.
Yeah, it's kind of a rudimentary analogy that I had, because we'll get to it eventually, but on Jono and Ben, I imagine you had a front row seat for some of those incredible pranks that they played on one another as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I was the guy who put the pilot costume together.
Oh, amazing.
So I got...
That doesn't seem like such a hard one to do, though. Just
no,
short sleeve white shirt.
A little bit went into it because you had to get the little pilot things that go on the shoulder. I forget what they're called, but the little things that go on the shoulders.
Wings, something.
And I remember going to the first scene, the costume shop, and they were like, "Yeah, no, you can't do those ones, but we could give you these ones." And then I just went and printed off bits of paper and stuck them on to look more official.
Yeah.
But in our head on that day, we never had any thought that anything bad was going to go. It was just a casual day. Oh, what do we need? Oh, pilot costume. Like, look, legit pilot. Okay, sweet. And we're doing this stuff and sent them off, and then shit hit the fan.
Okay. Oh, we need to talk about this. So for those that don't know, it was Bryce Casey.
Yeah, it was Bryce Casey. Well, a lot of people now always say it's Ben Boyce, but Ben was the show producer and on it, so he copped some flack.
And this made like front page news on the Herald. John Key, I think, was involved at the time. Like, it was this big thing.
Yep.
So you, as part of that, as the snowball of kind of drama builds after it, what are you thinking?
I'm just ducking my head. We're all in the office looking at each other like, holy shit, what's happened? Holy shit. But I started off in TV just that on a production side, which was basically a script would come through and they'd be like, we need these props and stuff. Oh, let's pay this company to build this prop and give them $5,000. And I was the guy being like, no, I could do that. Let me go to Mitre 10 and I'll do some stuff. So I became known as like the what now version of props boy, but like a real life props boy, where it was like, no, Jordan can do it. Like, let's just get Jordan to do that, or trying to string together random costume shit or build props or make something explode like for free. Like, we did action things where I just thought about, I got a compressor and then some switches, and you put 1 million hoses off just a compressor we have at home and put them into little paper cups with flour in them. So then as people are running through shot, I'm just behind hitting all these switches and flowers going everywhere. And we had Hollywood-style gunshots. And everyone's like, we would have paid so much money last year to do that. Like, thank you, Jordan. I was like, thank you to Kōwhara Brain, mate. Rural brain.
Yeah, is it from your old man was a bit of a Mr. Fix-It DIY MacGyver?
Yeah, look, I don't want to say that all Aucklanders are like this, but it was the first thing moving up there and getting into TV world and that. One, because I come from small rural New Zealand. One, everyone was real rich in my mind because you all bought coffees and bought your lunch every day. And I remember showing up with my lunchbox to my first, like, eating me at lunch with a lunchbox. And then by second day, I was like, oh, yeah, no, I'll come out and pay $9 for a panini. What's going on? And the fact that everyone was just so quick to spend money on things that you could just do yourself. So I kind of brought that mindset into the Jono and Ben world of, no, let's just do it. Let's just paint and do it ourselves. Stop hiring fancy prop places. Sorry to the props people out there that lost their jobs because of a bit of paint and a bit of MDF from Bunnings.
So you're 5 years at Jono and Ben, and you're Mr. Fix-It, and you're putting out fires and all this sort of stuff, and you're starting to climb the ladder. Is there a part of you at that point that's thinking, shit, maybe I'd be better in front of the camera? Like, did that come into it as you were getting higher and higher positions?
Yeah, so I worked on, TV's always never full time, so you'd be on Jono and Ben, and I was really lucky, I jumped between Jono and Ben and Let's Get Inventing. Amazing show. It's the one where kids would come up with an invention show and then you'd bring it to life, an invention idea, and then you'd bring it to life. So I was able to jump between both of them. Sometimes on that I'd have to be in front of the camera playing some weird character, like for a 2-second bit. Jono and Ben's sketches would always couldn't afford extras, so all the cast and production team would have to be asked to come down to set and stand there and dance or whatever. I think maybe a little bit in the back of the mind, but I was never looking like, man, I could be Jono and Ben tomorrow. Let's do this. Get these guys out the way. But I think it's just that always being kind of out there in the class clown. It's in the back of your head that if you had an idea like, shit, I could get this off the ground. Let's give this a go. I remember sitting with Jeremy Wells, where here I am at 18. I've left film school with my diploma, and I did a little bit of presenting there. So now I think I'm a voice artist. And I knew that Jeremy at the time had all these voice gigs. And I'm like, bro, can you like get me in on this agency that does your voice work? Because like I'll put together a show reel. Man, I just remember like it didn't hit me until I'm standing in the same edit suite that I told you about. Jeremy's there and I'm hitting play on this thing that I've recorded. And I just felt all the realization of what are you doing, you idiot? Like you're 18, straight into this thing. You've only just met this guy like a month ago, and now you're like, hey mate, I'm ready to be a radio voiceover guy like you. Can you just listen to this? And it was so bad, and I just started sweating profusely as he like politely just gives me some feedback. And he did give me the email, and I sent off my little voiceover thing. Never heard back.
Oh.
So
Can you give us a little sample of what that might have sounded like?
I remember it was like a McDonald's thing. It was like, come into McDonald's and you'll get $2 off this Sunday. But I was just
That's
real
good.
bad.
Yeah,
It was like,
I
think everything I did was just basically Aussie NRL commentators was
Yeah.
my version of trying to be a voiceover person. That's because it's growing up watching the Warriors. So.
Okay, so this is the start. This is such a cool story. We've listened to a few things and read some interviews, but like, it's so impressive what you've done since this. But take us back. You were at Jono and Ben 2014, and you send a video to your friend on their Facebook page back in the day. I think you posted on their page about
Yeah.
Tell us the story.
Yeah, so I always get asked, was there a big plan behind it? There wasn't. Straight off the gate, there was no big plan of this is a video that's going to change my life. I'm going to make a viral video today. So all it was is I had 2 kids at the time, a 4-month-old and a 2-year-old. My wife went out with the 2-year-old. This is on a Sunday. And I was left home with the 4-month-old and just a little bit bored. And I knew that a good friend, Sam Smith, who is a writer on Jono and Ben, you guys may know him. I mean, not the singer, but he had a baby on the way. And so I thought, oh, sure, I'll make a funny video for Sam. I did write down, because I had my laptop and I wrote them down. So the rugby ball hold. And then I set my camera up, because I had my camera from my failed Memoirs of a Geezer thing, set my camera up and went to shoot it. And then I thought it would be funny as if I just like act like I'm rough as shit. Like, yeah, g'day, Sam. The rugby ball hold, and just leant on the Kiwi-ism, the Kiwi stereotype, mumbled through it, and put that on my YouTube channel that only had 2 duck shooting videos on it at the time, which are now being clicked to private before I get attacked by greenies. And I put that link on his Facebook page and went to sleep. And that was it. There was no thought. I don't even think I told my wife that I made a video with, I don't even know if I mentioned it to her. And then woke up and my phone was just full of these notifications I never had from YouTube. Like, congratulations, your videos hit 1,000 views, 10,000 views, 500,000 views, 1 million views. And like overnight or in a couple days, it hit 1 million views. And I was like, wow. And that's where I just rode this endorphin high of like 2 days of fame, 5 seconds of fame, like the Paul Henry show, all these radio things, your email's full, people are just trying to get in contact with you, want a piece of you. And I'm like, I've just made this stupid video, what's up? And I got, going back to what you said earlier, I got a phone call from Stuff. And ring, ring. And I'm at Jono and Ben at the time as the phone call comes through, and they're like, oh, hey, Jordan, blah, blah, blah. And they start asking me, what do you do for a job? And in that split second, I had been a landscaper when I was in London. I was like, I do a bit of landscaping. And I think I just went with it. I was like, should I just go with this Kiwi thing and just go with I am a bit of a landscaper? Because I think I did. In that split second, I had enough thought that I was like, if I say I'm a full-on TV.
Yeah.
Well, I wasn't a full-on, but, if I work in the TV world, they might go, oh, no, let's leave it. It's a planned skit for Jono and Ben or something, but it never was.
Yeah.
So I'm just a landscaper. And that got published, and that kind of went into other articles.
I think that's
And then I got stuck in it, and then I was bumping into people on the street who were like, hey, Matt, you're a courier, eh? Or, hey, Matt, all these rumors. So I just never really said it out loud, but I did.
I think that is a big part of that early success.
Yeah,
the genuine thing.
Because, like you say, you had a mate who was like, "Oh, I heard he works in
he's
TV,"
at TV, man.
and I think
shit.
I think I was so afraid of that for so long, and now I don't give a crap. Like I'm fine. But there was a time where I was like, "No, I don't work at Jono and Ben." But I was the floor manager for the live shows that they had. So you'd have 100 people come to these studios, and then I come out, "G'day, guy," because I'm the guy who count Jono and Ben into camera like 3, 2, 1 with my headphones.
A lot of
on.
energy, guys.
A lot of energy, guys, and that's awkward as because they're like, "Oh, it's How To Dad." I'm like, "No, shush, we're here for Jono and Ben." Like, are you the guy? What are you doing? Thought you were a landscaper from Rotorua.
With what you know about analytics and how things go viral now, do you have an understanding of what happened with that first video?
My only thing from that one would have been that I think it was the first. Like, there hadn't been a dads making videos with their babies, but also it was kind of taking the piss because there would have been, I'm guessing there would have been already the internet would have been flooded with proper serious parenting advice videos. So now you've got a dad doing it with their kid, but taking the mickey out of that almost. And I think it was just the first. I don't know what perfect storm came together for it to go viral, but it went viral on Facebook and YouTube and emailed around to everyone. So I have no idea. To this day, like, I remember I made a video, my biggest video ever on Facebook was how to put a baby to sleep. And I thought, when I come up with the idea, once I'd fully started How To Dad, I was like, this will be gold, because my daughter never went to bed. Alba never went to bed when I put her down. She'd just jump on her cot. And so it was like middle of an afternoon. And I was like, I'll shoot this video. I always just shot them on the weekend. Like, last minute thought, shit, I got to do a How To Dad video. Went in there, g'day, this is how to put your baby to sleep. I just said the intro to camera, and she just dropped in the cot and like put her thumb in and almost fell asleep. And what you don't see in the edit is I crack up laughing. And she's only like 8 months old. And I think she clicked in her head that, oh, dad liked that. So then I'd go through all these dad stereotypes that I'd come up with, like the hypnotized dad or the hop into the cot dad. But every time I said sleep, she just kept doing that. And so I remember editing it, and I said to my missus, this is shit. Like, this video, I'll put all this effort of actually writing this one properly, and it's going to be crap. Like, she just kept going to sleep instead of jumping around. It's not relatable. And we posted that, and it went like 20 million views in the first week on Facebook. And it's still my biggest video ever.
Because you didn't go straight into How To Dad, right, after that first viral vid.
No.
You called your jets for a while.
Well, I wasn't How To Dad. I was just Dad Jordan. I was landscaper Jordan Watson. Because I wore the bush shirt to Paul Henry as well. I did happen to be seriously wearing a bush shirt and stubbies, which was like the weekend comfy attire. I would have been mowing the lawn or something. So that very first video, I was wearing that. And then when Paul Henry called me in, I was like, I'll just put on that again. There were no big plans again. So what do you wear? I'm not going to wear a suit or anything. I'm not going to dress up in jeans and a shirt. I'll just put on my stubbies and bush shirt. That would be pretty funny. And then did nothing. That was in 2015, middle of 2015, that video. And then we did nothing for 6 months. Like, there was no thought of, I had my 2 days of fame and then everyone's forgotten it. And then I think it was friends and family that suggested, like, hey, you should do more of those video things. And I think they just kept all on saying it, and it was fun. It was like a fun time. Like, when do you get all this attention and emails and people saying, hey, do you want to come to this basketball game, or random email things, opportunities you'd never see in your life. So we were like, hey, should we start this? And we, at the start of 2016, we made a Facebook page and a YouTube channel at the same time, How To Dad, and then just started chipping away, making a video every weekend and posting it on Monday.
I just want to spend a little time in that first week after that first video goes viral. Is it quite, when you're talking, I imagine you're talking to Jody, your wife, the next day, and you're seeing the numbers blowing up, and it's just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Is it kind of like a joke? Like, are you guys just laughing at how ridiculous this thing is? And is there any part of you at that point that is thinking, I'm on to something here? I know we talked about you didn't do anything for ages, but was there any part, like when Paul Henry's calling you on and you're getting all these media spots?
Nah, there was no thought of that at all. Just everyday regular family. Like, if you think about it now, if you had a viral video of your cat tripping you over and you went viral and Paul Henry called you in, you know, it was just still that. It was just everyday thought. Oh, look at that. I've got a funny photo of Nala, who's in the video, or Albra, who's in the video, on her little rocker chair, and the TV's going behind it, and it's Paul Henry with a pre-recorded bit playing. And we've like got a photo that every year it comes up in my Facebook memories. I'm like, oh, well, that's the time it went. Look at that. 8 years ago now. But I mean, it's been 8 years, but if I think back, I don't think there was 1% of me thinking, right, I'm onto something here. If there was, I would have done something, because I'm that kind of person. I would have done it the next day. You know, I would have like kept on going and started it, but we did nothing for half a year.
So when did the penny actually drop then, and you go, shit, actually, there's something in this?
Well, yeah, so we started, it wasn't there was something in it. We just like the fun of it. Like, making your own videos was just fun, like doing your own projects, like starting a podcast.
Yeah, it's fun.
It's like a new project, something new in your life, something different. And so it was my own thing. And once family and friends had kind of suggested it, and then we sat down and had a serious chat with the missus, we're like, we could do this, like just make a silly, fun video every weekend. They're only going to be like a minute long, and then we'll post it on a Monday. And I remember I Googled how to do a good YouTube channel, and it said consistency. So I like, for probably 5 years, I never missed a Monday. I like had a new video every Monday. And it was the same as anyone else making a Facebook page or a new business, and you start your page, and the only followers are like your family and friends, and you get a few clicks and it just slows right down. And we were that for like 4 or 5 months. Like, nothing was going off. Like, just this dad, oh, who's this? Just Jordan with his kid again. Hey, mate, you've had your viral time. Was this that awkward, like your brother ribbing you, the ones that can rib you? Like, what are you doing, man? You're trying to be this viral guy now? Like, you've lost that, mate. It's done.
Yeah.
It's bloody done. What are you doing?
I can really relate to that.
Are you simultaneously trying to build Facebook and YouTube operations?
Yeah, there was no thinking behind it. All I did was I made the Facebook page and I made the YouTube channel on the same day, and all the videos went there at the same time on both. On a Monday, and I was doing nothing else. Like, I didn't look into how to do that. I just posted them both at basically the same time on the same day, YouTube and Facebook.
Just for clarity, 7 p.m., right?
Yeah, well, that you can look into, but yeah, 7 p.m. Although I'm weird now, that used to be it, but because it's so international, some analytical insight here. Most of my subscribers on YouTube are online at 3 a.m. because it's so international. US is my biggest following, not New Zealand. So there you go. But back to whatever we were talking about. So it's slowly growing, and then made that video that I said was a shitter. Like, this video is shit about trying to put your kid to sleep. She has not jumped around at all. And my wife watched it over my shoulder and goes, oh, no, it's cute. And I was like, yeah, lame. I'm not looking for cute. I'm looking for funny. This isn't funny. And that one went nuts. And like the biggest video ever. And then 2 weeks later, we did...
Nuts. What are we talking, like 10 million?
20 million.
20 million views.
20 million views in a real short amount of time.
On the Facebook
video.
On the
Facebook video. Yeah, like nuts.
With comments like, he's back. You know what I mean? Like,
nah, I can't remember, but no, I don't think so. It's just like, oh, look, it was just kicking it off again. And
then they go into the back catalog.
I know at the same time, like TVNZ, One News and that were picking them up and being like, Dad strikes again. Yeah, there was a few stories like that. He's back, maybe, yeah. Not like people in the comments like, yay, thank you, bowing down. He's back. We needed him. And then we got an email. I think this was the first time it sparked something like, hang on, what? We can get paid for this thing? Actually, let me rewind. Remind me to come back to this, but let me rewind for you. Because look, I got 1 million views on YouTube for that How to Hold a Baby video. And I'm like, holy shit, I am a millionaire. Like, I have made it. I am so rich. Like, holy shit.
They send you something, right?
No, if you got
Oh,
a
no,
million
that's if
followers.
you get subscribers.
Sorry, we'll get there.
So I, in my head, I'm thinking, holy shit, I have made this. Like, we're going to be rich. And then you like click into your little analytics and you go on the back. What's a million views got me? 100K? $1 million? Something. $980. It's like, 1 million views gets you $980. Yeah, that's a good amount of money, but it's still, here I am thinking I've made like at least 100K.
Yeah.
So that was a quick slap in the face.
Yeah.
And then like some media agency got hold, this is after the first video. Hey, we represent viral videos and we can make you money. Sign up here, sign this contract. I'm like, yeah, it's done now. Yeah, we'll sign it to you. I, to this day, don't own that video.
Really?
I can't get it back off them. They are evil, evil people. They make no money from it because I've hidden it. If you go on my YouTube channel, you can't even find how to hold a baby. And
Amazing.
I'm like, I was like, guys, you've made, this is like last year. I was like, guys, you've made $60 from this video in the last year. I'll give you $5,000 right now if you give that video back to me. Give me the rights to that video. And they just won't. I'm like, what is wrong with you? But
have you tried to exchange it for the shitter? How to?
Yeah. So I've learned out there, people don't ever sign your videos to these weird. If you have something go viral, there'll be one person listening that's had a weird video go viral. Your email gets full of a lot of shady people, so watch out.
So you have this second big hit, How to Make the Baby Go to Sleep, and then it's got 20 million views. How many followers do you get as a result of that?
Oh, it was nuts. Like, yeah, crazy. Like 250,000 followers like in a week. Yeah, in a week. There were times where it was growing like at 20,000 followers a day, like just continually through 2016, 2017.
And is that the point where you're starting to think, holy shit, I can monetize? Like,
No, it happened in a real short 1 month window. So we had that video that went absolutely gangbusters, 20 million views. Then we get an email from Destination Rotorua. Hi, Jordan. We'd love to bring you and the family out to enjoy Rotorua on us if you make a video out here. And we're like, me and Jody like jumping around the lounge. Like, holy shit, this is so cool. Hell yes, we'll come out to Rotorua and make a video. And they were real cool about, they kind of sowed the seed in my head before I even thought about it. But they're like, we don't want you to overdo it. We don't want you being like, hey, I'm in Rotorua. Just have some backgrounds. Like, make sure we're in the background, and you don't even have to like have the welcome to Rotorua sign. And I'm like, this sounds great. So we did this video, How to Travel with a Baby. And so this is only 2 weeks after that video has gone massive, and we've traveled. I've edited this video, and another 20 million views. That was what kicked it. I had 2 insanely massive videos within like a fortnight, and they paid us like, we got the trip and we got like $1,000. But when you think of what they got out of it,
some of the best marketing spend ever.
I know. I talked about it. I got invited to speak at something like a year ago, and the lady was I was telling the same story, and I go, imagine if I bumped into them now, I'd be saying, where's my money? And then afterwards she's like, I'm the lady. Because they got 20 million views out of $1,000 and hosting a family for a week. But that was when that paid gig came through, we're like, oh shit. Oh, okay. So there can be like money in this as well. And then your brain just starts going like, I can quit my job. I can be my own boss. Everything starts.
Yeah. So you're still Jono and Ben.
I'm still Jono and Ben. Yep.
You've had this huge month, and then the wheels are starting to turn. Shit. How there must have been a period of time when you were still working, when you were thinking about throwing in the full-time job.
An entire year.
Was it?
I worked myself ridiculous hours and freaked out just for the fear of, I had 2 kids. We were renting, and Jono and Ben was it was known that if you got onto Jono and Ben, it was a real good gig because they were such long production times. They had 30 to 40 episodes in a row. So where other TV gigs, you might be on there for like 6 weeks to a month, 2 months, and then you got to find another job. And I was like, shit, I can't throw this in. How the day could blow up, it could fall over tomorrow. But we were slowly getting more and more kind of brand deals. Like Air New Zealand were coming through. I had an agency reach out, so I was able to sign on with them, and they help you do all the money stuff. More and more paid gigs. But it still just didn't give me I could have left Jono and Ben way earlier, but I was just freaking out. So Jono and Ben was like, I'd leave home at 7:30 and not get home till 6:30. Like, it was big hours on it. And so you're hardly seeing the kids. And then I'd see the kids, and then I'd work till mainly like till midnight. At least midnight, and that's mainly sifting through emails, bro. Just, you don't know one video that even goes slightly viral, your email's just full. and 99% of it is dodgy things like real bad English from countries you've never heard of. You sell 20,000 glow stick, we give you cents. Like, what? Thanks, delete. Delete. It's so much just deleting, not even replying. It's people that are copy and pasting. But then now and then you'll see a brand or a Kiwi brand, like Air New Zealand or Forward or something will reach out, and then you're like, oh. And then you...
Before you left Jono and Ben, did the attitude change around, like they must have known they had this star that was blowing up as part of the team. Like, was there any attempt to bring How to Dad into what they were doing?
There's a little bit. It was definitely... It was weird. In a way, it was weird. Like, there was all like, whoa! Like, there'd be moments, or a lot of the writers were this very clicked together comedy guys, where they kind of had their writers clique that stuck together, and they would never really care about anything until they saw. I hadn't even heard of what Reddit was, and then they're like, all of a sudden, one day they're like, you're on the front page of Reddit. Like, you're the number one video on Reddit. I'm like, what? And that video wasn't even going viral on any of my platforms, but it was number one on Reddit. I'm like, what? And all of a sudden it was this, oh shit. And then, and it was a weird chemistry. I was still just Jordan who cracked the whip because I climbed the ladder. So I was still Jordan who's like, nah, you've painted that bloody thing wrong and you've built that wrong. Or I was like helping direct Jono and Ben. So I was still that guy, but there were bits of, at the same time, shit, this dude's really blowing up. And even I was weird with it. Like, it was a weird thing to deal with. And there was a time that we did a few skits with me. But I don't know, it was a kind of weird, it was a weird time is the easiest way to put it.
Was there a moment where you'd been thinking about it for a year and then there is a day where you hand in your resignation notice? Was there a specific moment or something that forced you to do it that day or that week?
Nah, not that I can think of. Not at all. I would have been talking about it with the missus constantly for like a year, and then finally kind of built up the courage, and maybe I got another gig come through. It's like we were just getting these gigs, and I was just thinking, okay, there's kind of a cycle here. We're not stuffing this up. It's growing. Now's the time, and we got a place. I was driving scooters at the time because I hated traffic, and I'm a big guy. I'm not a tiny guy on a scooter. Scooters can hardly propel anyone, right? So I'm on a 50cc scooter and trying to go up these hills around Auckland, and they just go down to like 20 kilometers an hour, and you've got buses trying to pass you. And we moved to the North Shore, and so I got a motorbike license and bought this big bike because I was like, shit, I can't drive a scooter over the harbour bridge. I'll die. So now I've got a motorbike. And within a month of moving to the North Shore, I quit Jono and Ben, and then just had this motorbike sitting in my shed. But there was no moment, just 2017. That's all I can remember. Threw it in. And How to Dad full time.
Okay, so now we're into full time How to Dad.
Jeez, I wish I'd gone to like a psychic to stir up my memory better. It's like trying to drag through all of this, but I think I'm doing all right.
You're doing a great job. You've done a great job.
Can I just have one more Jono and Ben question? Are there ever any reunion get-togethers? Because that's an incredible conveyor belt of talent.
The boys, Jono and Ben, have never stopped working. Those guys are just workaholics. But the crew behind the scenes, we now and then, but no, there hasn't been like a proper let's get together. It would be amazing to do it, but every time, at least a couple times a year, if I'm up here, I'll get all the production guys that I've met and known, camera guys and that. We'll get together and have a beer or so and find out what everyone's working on. Because you do kind of think back to Jono and Ben. It's like a great comedy show, great group of people, but it's also like one of the hardest shows. Everyone knew it in the industry. Like, if you're working on Jono and Ben, you're like, it's a stress cooker because it was a topical show. It was like, let's say the show's going to air on you do the studio record on a Thursday night, and you've planned out your show. You've got your sketches that are topical of what's happened in the week, and then something massive happens on Thursday morning. You're like, you can't not put it in the show. So all of a sudden it's like, crew, Jordan, or whatever, whoever's available, go, get out there and shoot that with thing, quickly go into it. And it's just, 6 months of constant stress of pumping out a weekly show. It was a crock pot.
I'm going to dip into that memory bank one last time. What was the most elaborate set design or prop that you needed to construct from scratch during that time?
Oh, shit. So many. Oh, it's more like just little tricks of trying to do stuff as opposed to massive thing. Oh, explode. Oh, Holden's gone under. They won't care anymore. There was one where we pretended that we blew up Jono's ute, and like health and safety wise, we weren't always the best. It was like, oh no, we'll be right. And we went out to this farm, and it's on a steep hill, and it's just a narrow race. And Jono's up on this field. It's a photo shoot, and there's this big barn. And we've got this dodgy guy from Taupiri who does explosives. He's come out, and he's rigged this massive fireball explosion. And we'd planned it all out. Well, I was the only guy planning it out, about how do we make out like his utes accidentally rolled down the hill, and because he can't see the park lights on. So since Jono's been dropped off, and he's parked his ute on this hill. Oh, sorry, Jono's arrived. He's parked his ute on this hill, and he's hopped out. Then I've had to sneak in the other side, hop in, turn the key on one click, lying down with the seat laid flat, and I've got the handbrake on, so the brake lights aren't on. I've got it in neutral. I've tilted the right-hand side electric mirror all the way down because I'm lying down right in this ute. Now I have to reverse it only using one hand and steering at this mirror, and I've got to be fully off. I've got to commit, and I can't touch the brake, and I've got to roll this ute down this hill in reverse through this farm race, and then I've got to go over this wooden bridge and not go off the edge of the wooden bridge and then hit the pins at the exact same time so it doesn't spit out the other side of the barn, and then the explosion's cued. And everyone is stressing the shit out, and we absolutely nailed it. It was amazing. It was absolutely amazing. So that would be my proudest stunt, even though I wasn't a stunt guy. But it wasn't something I constructed, but it's something I pulled off. So I'd like to thank my rural upbringing there. Yeah, cheers.
Beautiful.
I could have done it with like 6 trailers on, but didn't want to show off.
Okay, so you're leaving Jono and Ben behind, and we're out into the world of content creator. And I imagine you would be the only person that you knew that had this job title. Like, what's your strategy? Who are you talking to for advice? Like, what is your game plan from there?
Yeah, there wasn't a lot of game plan in it at all. It was, I definitely remember Googling like how to parenting ideas, not ideas, but trying to find out what are the main things. But I was already living that, so that came easy. So all those classic, how to change a nappy, how to hold a baby, how to burp a baby, how to stop a baby from crying, all those ones you're going to question anyway were easy, bankable video ideas. Like, great, I can do that, I can do that, I can do that. But there was never a, like, sit down, right, I've got to come up with this, I need this. For that first, before I went full-time, but for that first year, before it was my full-time gig, it was like it was usually like a Saturday or a Sunday. I was like, shit, we got to do a video. And that's how quick they'd come together, and we'd quickly shoot it and edit it and get it up. But even once it became a full-time thing, I never really had a big plan. I just knew that I had to pump out a video every week. And now that I'm doing it full-time, maybe 2 a week. And then, yeah, you just start exploring other things, trying different things at the same time, sticking tried and true to the how-to. I remember being real strict on that. We had this brand approach us from Australia. They had B is really bad for a podcast because you get quite burpy, and I'm trying to politely burp to the side.
Just burp away.
I coughed through it there.
Just burp away.
But we had this brand reach out, and they had a really good chunk of cash. Like, we do a GPS hiking unit that goes on your backpack. And I was like, okay, what's the how-to though? Like, it had to be a how-to title, or I couldn't do it. What's the how-to? And they're like, and I was like, I could go how to hike with a baby, and then have all these stereotypical dads, and then the serious dad with the GPS. And they're like, no, it's got to be called exploring with the whatever brand it was, exploring with the Export Gold GPS unit. And I was like, no, it can't be that. Like, every video I've ever done is how to. I'm not going to do that. Yeah, no, it has to be, mate. And I thought he was joking, and I was like, start laughing. He's like, mate, it has to be called this, or we won't be doing it with you. And we hadn't made a lot then, and we turned that down. And that happens, I guess that's been a big success of it as well, without sounding real wanky, but we turned down a lot. To this day, like, I still smack myself from a gig I turned down last year, and I'm like, financially, I'm like, we probably should have done that one again, would have really helped the bank account. But you got to turn down stuff that isn't going to sit with you, or doesn't feel right, or you don't get that. You usually know within the first minute of a brand wanting to work with you, you'll have that quick idea in your head, but if you're forcing it, it's never really going to work, and my agents all hate me for it. But I turn down way more than I accept.
Because that's critical to the success as well as the management of your own brand, right? Because to the point of bush shirt, stubbies, jandals, like, did you really commit to that bit in everyday life?
Yeah,
I say commit to it, but it was every day.
I 100% committed to it. So yeah, that was the first video I was wearing stubbies and a bush shirt. So then it was either going to be gumboots or jandals on the bottom. We got flown to, some insane shit's happened. We got flown to New York to go to the red carpet of the Boss Baby premiere. And that was with Universal, and all they wanted was a live streamed video. I was like, this is great. Yeah, it's a New York thing. And like, it's Boss Baby. She's a baby. This all ties in. Doesn't have to be a how-to thing. Oh, I think I typed in the top of the how to red carpet. I just needed it in there so I could sleep at night. And it is 3 degrees, winter in New York, and I'm in stubbies at a bush shirt and jandals. And we walk down this red carpet, and all cameras just are going nuts. And I'm thinking, oh, they're filming Nala, because Nala was in a little Boss Baby thing. And it was more just on me, like, who's this guy and what's he wearing? And I froze my ass off, but I committed to the bit. And at the other end of the spectrum, we've been to, like, when we went to Shanghai, and it's like 35 degrees in the most humid time ever. And I'm just sweating. Like, so I'd be in a singlet, and then the moment we had to film anything, pull the bush shirt out the bag, get it on, just quickly get the shot. Hey, kid. And then quickly back off singlet. And everyone out there that wears a bush shirt or a fleece knows how they're famous for moisture. Like, you can pour a glass of water on one, it'll bead off. So imagine that on the inside. Like, unlike cotton, that'll absorb a little bit of your sweetness so you don't feel like you're just sitting in water. You put a stuffed bush shirt that's been in your backpack all day through China back on, is just putting on like a wet flipping piece of Glad wrap over your body, and then you're running trying to it's a bad time. And sometimes I regret sticking to the bit, but hey, it's made its way through, and it's made it a success.
These international trips, I imagine there's been so many. I think there was one of Amsterdam. You went for like 5 days to do a 20-minute talk.
Yeah,
business class.
How's that?
Business class.
I want you to talk about that. But how's that being received at home by like? Is Jodie happy for you to be going on these like long weeks away to do very minimal work?
Or is that a non-negotiable? She has to come.
She's great. I actually live video called her from. We've been to Amsterdam on our OE many moons ago, and I actually FaceTimed her and the kids from the red light district, because I went back. I was like, oh, let's go to the red light. Oh, this is me on my own now. I'll go back to the red light district for a look. We did on our OE. And I was shocked about how many families were walking through, and like tourist people. And so I kind of get to the side of it, and I pull out my phone because I realized the time I'll say goodnight to the kids. And I'm there, and she's like, are you in the red light? I was like, yeah, I've come back for a look. And she's fine. And then she's like, what's happening in the background? And it's, oh, you're not allowed to film there. I've just completely forgot. And there's just this prostitute in the background banging on a glass wall and just at me, and you know that they've always got people watching. So I'm like, see ya, hang up, and I just power walk into the crowds to hide. But I was the creepo who's acting like, oh yeah, I'm fully FaceTiming, but zooming in on the prostitute behind me. But she's been awesome. Yeah, she's been great. Definitely, like, when you say who do I ask now that I've thought about it, it's her. She's like the executive producer, where I'll film something, everything goes past Jodie before it goes out. Not that she's like, change this, do this, do this. This will be her like busy hanging the wash down, but like, hey babe, watch this for a second. And she's like, oh yeah, that's good. And that's all I need, and I'm happy. I just need someone else to see it before I put it on the internet.
Yeah.
Everything that I've ever put out on the internet, Jodie has seen.
Because she was largely anonymous for a while, right? She was.
Oh yeah, she's only just come out.
Yeah.
She's only just come bursting out. But that was just going back to the fame thing. So once we kind of I got more known, more and more people wanting photos and seeing you on the street, and it's all a bit weird. And she was always, like I say, a few steps back. So people almost sometimes never connected that we were all together. And so she was like, I don't want this. I don't want to be pointed at. So then it played into this really fun thing where she became like Wilson from Home Improvement. And then like the YouTube audience loved it, where like we'd tease the part of her hair, or just like her arm would be in a video. Or we did an April Fool's time where like finally you're going to meet her, and then just cut to like the face swap, and it was my face on her face. So we just played that for so long, and it was such a fun gag to do. And now, yeah, it was her idea. She's like cracking up at all these couples challenges lately. Should be, because she started a How To Mum Instagram page probably a couple of years ago, but everything she films is just from POV. Like you just see her hands, you're just never going to see her. And then she's like, I'd love to do one of these couple challenges with you. And then I was like, what? And post it. She's like, yeah, why not? And that was there was no big, we could have sat down and made a semi-viral video by going, actually now meet How To Mum. But we just did it casually. And there's so many angry people messaging, like, I spent all last night scrolling through your Instagram feed looking for the reveal video. I was like, there wasn't one. We just casually did a couples challenge, and there, you've met my wife now. And
I saw those comments. I was there the other night, and it's like, where was the reveal? What the hell? What's going on?
But it was just a fun way to do it. And yeah, she's out there now. But it was a good fun years just hiding her
But
simpling
she's
along.
got a good thing going on. I think she's got 30,000 Instagram followers
Yeah,
on her
yeah,
account.
yeah.
Like, is that as a result of you pushing audience to her, or did she just do that organically?
Yeah, mainly a lot coming from me and tagging around at the start, like How to Mum's got a page. But she's real up and down. She's not a big like, I'm going to be How to Mum. Not at all. She just said, I want to start a page like 2 years ago. I was like, oh, you should call it How to Mum. That'd be pretty funny.
Yeah. Take us into the nuts and bolts of what a week looks like. Maybe over 8 years, you've started doing 2 videos a week. You're still working a 9 to 5 day, right? Like, you're still on the tools, it's answering emails, and then an idea comes to you and you decide to film it. Like, how does that whole process actually work?
Yeah, now I've got Golden, which is the Jandal company we started a couple years ago. So it's usually waking up. We don't have a big team at Golden. It's me waking up, checking all the socials, and then checking all the customer service and checking all the orders and dealing with any issues that have happened. And then it's usually checking a little time, checking social media, just trying to stay plugged in as well, which is also just for your own, like anyone swiping on TikTok. But for me, it's usually checking YouTube and going to what's popular on YouTube and just seeing what's happening. And then I'd like to say, to this day, 8 years later, I am not one of those YouTubers who are ahead of the ball and have 10 videos in the back pocket. Like right now, I have a video due tomorrow. Well, let's say I'm trying to do twice. I don't have it. Yeah. I've got a video due on Monday. I don't have one. I don't even have I've got a few ideas I wrote down yesterday, but I'm still of the week. And it's real bad. I just got a brain that's stupidly just firing ideas at me all the time. And so let's say I have a brain fart idea. I work by emailing myself. So if I'm in the shower and I'm going to come up with an idea, I'll leap out the shower nude and search for my phone before I forget the idea, and I'll email myself it. And then later on, when I get back in the office and I sit down, if I see it in email and I read it again, and if I think it's great, I'll add it to a little Google Doc list. But I think the Jono and Ben thing almost scarred me a little bit of being topical and having to get shit done, where I'll be like, shit, that's a great idea. And let's say I don't film it that day, and then the following day I have another idea. That ends up almost never seeing the light of day and never being filmed, because I'm so excited about this idea I just had at breakfast. And as soon as the kids are gone to school, I got the camera out and I'm just doing it. My whole day will change just out of pure excitement of, shit, I love this idea.
I love the fact that you had to add in the detail that you jump out of the shower nude.
Yeah, I know there's some female viewers, listeners, and they might just want to visualize that along.
I thought it was to shatter the illusion that the stubbies are run 24/7.
No, yeah. I mean, people freak out to this day when they see me out on the street in like jeans, or if I go out somewhere and I'm in a shirt because it's a bit fancy. And again, it's like, you big liar, you big phony.
You big
I was like, so you actually think I never ever change? But
yeah, by the way, just I've got a great view of the legs.
Yeah, sorry, man.
No. I've got a great view of the legs and up Rat Alley, but the legs particularly, they're good. They're good pins.
Oh, thanks, man.
You should run them out more often.
Shay's a big legs guy.
I do. Yes.
Power bottom.
I'm the most comfortable in stubbies. When I'm not filming, I'm in stubbies. Stubbies are the number one short in my drawer. But I'm usually rocking a t-shirt. It's mainly a Golden t-shirt these days. I'm just shoveling that stuff as much as I can. It's
a good jandal. How did that come about? Was it just a natural progression of an extension of the How to Dad brand?
It was through. So How to Dad, you then, if you're a social media person, you're usually connected to an agency, and those agencies help you figure out. Brands usually approach agencies, and they're like, hey, we've got this, and we want to do this. Who have you got on your books? And so my agency, another separate idea, someone at the agency had a contact who is a product manufacturer. For example, like let's say Export Gold's like, we want hats this summer. They go to this guy. This is the go-to guy, like a lot of people use. And so he got in contact with my agency and said, look, you've got these people on your books that have a large following. If any of them ever have like a business idea or a product idea, get in contact and we'll see what we can come up with. And as soon as that email came across my desk, I was like, I was just sick of blowing out, I won't say the name, but the most common jandal in New Zealand. Just sick of them only lasting like 3 months. So we have this first meeting, and I, well, what are you going to do? I was like, we'll make and how do you, we'll make the thing big. Make the plug big. How? And we're Googling it, like, has no one done this? Make the plug bigger. Like bigger like what? Like a bread tag. And that's what we did. And it's like, this is 4 years ago. We only just launched 18 months ago, but it was years of just testing behind the scenes and getting different manufacturers to do them, and they come back wrong or blah, blah, blah. But yeah, it's a thing now.
But Golden goes okay, right?
Yeah, oh, it's on the side. No, it's still growing. It's definitely still growing. It's not. We make out like on social, like it's smashing down doors and doing all this, but it's definitely still a startup and still growing. And we got into the warehouse, which was awesome. We had a trial with them. This was last summer, so it was only a small number of jandals, and the community got behind that hugely because I was like, you got to go out there. We need to sell these so we can show the warehouse that it's hot. And like they sold out in 6 weeks. This will trial them out. So we're like, great. So we got back in this year, and then we had the best summer ever. And so no one, no one was really buying like their summer sales on all products in the summer areas in the store were down. So it was down for us as well, even online sales. So we're learning. We're still young and it's figuring out. And right now, like here I am, we're trying to have like here I am making fun content for the Golden Channel. And you're like, why am I doing this? No one's going to buy them in winter. Like, let's just go into hibernation for 4 months and come back. But you just want to stay present. And it's all about brand awareness. I'm learning shit. I'm not a businessy person, from Memoirs of a Failed Geezer. So I'm the bloody geezer right now in the jandal world.
Is Golden in the business side safeguarding you for future? Is it because multiple income streams? You got a family now, the video game, while you've got these followers that aren't going to go away, you don't know how long it will go for?
Yeah, 100%. You talk to a lot of people and they're like, I have no idea how you do your job where you don't have a regular pay packet. And that's what it is to be in my shoes. So when the Golden thing come around, you're like, yeah, if we can get something on the side that isn't going to take away from too much How to Dad stuff and I can handle doing it right now. And if we can build this side project to then end up, in 5 years or 10 years to be a monster product, a brand that we've done and help secure myself, definitely. That's a massive part of it because I'm very aware of How to Dad. I don't know if I'm going to be 50 and making How to Dad videos that people are going to be going, hey, that's really funny. We're going to watch this 1,000,000 times and give you $900.
Yeah. Is there a part of it which is a locked-in income? Like when you've got a certain number of YouTube followers, does that equate like you can bank on a certain amount each month as like a base?
Yeah. YouTube and Facebook started monetizing like 2 years ago. But yeah, YouTube, you get paid by your YouTube views. Doesn't matter how many subscribers you have. There's people with way less subscribers than me that get more viewers on per video. I've got a large amount, but I don't get paid that well by YouTube because I'm real short form, which is the shitty thing. And I'm not going to change all of a sudden just to try and bank more money on YouTube. But people that are making 3-minute or 10-minute is the golden one on YouTube. If you're making 10-minute edits on YouTube and you're getting 20,000 views, you'll make more money than someone who got 100,000 views on one of my videos because there's more ad placements within the video.
Yeah.
So I don't make a lot. I've never got to a point, even close to a point, that I could say no brands, I don't want to work with you because I can live off YouTube and Facebook money. I don't make enough on YouTube and Facebook to live.
Just on that YouTube piece and the 10-minute mark, the Legend of a Gumboot, like how did that go in terms of views, which was a project between New Zealand On Air and Google?
Yeah. It was, it didn't go amazing. It was quite a left field idea and a bit wacky for a lot of the international followers because I had so many such a large international following. And even the title, they're like, what the hell's a gumboot? It was called Legend of the Gumboot.
Legend of the Wellington.
And it was my story, a piss take, but it was my story to impress my kids by becoming New Zealand's best gumboot thrower. But it was still awesome. Like that was all me, my own fun thing. It was the first time that I got to like write something, script something, had an actual crew, not just me running around with a camera and trying to, the amount of times I've done the dodgiest shit because you're on your own. People think you have a film crew. I'm like, no. Even some of these slicker edits that I put time into, I'm like, it's still just me. Writing it, shooting it, editing it, trying to bring it all together. But no, this had a film crew and we got to travel down to Taihape, saw the big gumboot. It was a moment, man. It was a moment.
So that's probably a point that maybe people don't respect or realize is that it is you. You're a one-man production crew.
Yeah.
In terms of everything that you do on the How to Dad channel.
Yep.
Self-taught? Like I know you did the edits back in the Rod Stewart music and the wedding stuff, but is it all just self-taught? Like how do you keep up to date with modern transitions?
Yes, but I'm quite lucky because I'm lucky the world that I'm in, that I'm just a dad who makes videos that never have to be polished. Like I'm not making cinematic things. So even now I could switch to an iPhone tomorrow and no one would even notice because mine's always just been, it looks pretty average, Yes, I am shooting it on a nicer DSLR camera, like I'm not on my phone, but I don't need to be up to date with all the trends and things like that. So it is all self-taught, but again, in saying it, my videos are 1 minute long. A lot of the times there's like 5 cuts in that. Like it's pretty easy. So there was a time in 2017 on YouTube, there's a guy, Casey Neistat, who's just famous for making vlogs. He's like the godfather of vlogging. I was like, we need to get into vlogs. So I committed to that for like 6 months. He was doing one every day, a vlog every day. I did one every week and it almost killed me. So we gave that up. And it wasn't getting the traction that I was hoping. I was like, vlogs is going to be our new thing. And also it just brought people into your personal life too much. As much as people love to think they know how to dad and they know all the kids, to be honest, people know jack shit. It's like, and that's on purpose. Right now there's other Kiwi dads out there doing stuff that really bring you into the home, and it's real life daily stuff. That's never, and they're doing more of that as well on the motivational side, showing you this is how I do it, this is how happy our family is, but that's never been us. Like, I'm in it for the laughs, I'm in it for the tongue in cheek. This is what parenting's like.
Are there ever moments in the comment section where there are some quite serious themes, or people message you directly about either the help that you're providing or the support, or genuinely like, fuck, I would not have known how to change a nappy because my wife is away had I not watched that video?
Yeah. There's those ones on the shallower ones. Are people like, holy shit, I actually learned something from this. Thank you so much. And there has been a lot of serious ones over the years of, mate, I was like in a depressed mess, and finding your channel's been so uplifting. I'm a dad. I get these all the time of dads and mums, like, which is still not my plan. I make videos that I want to make parents laugh and are relatable, and so you can be like, oh shit, okay, I can stuff this up. Like, this guy's just put on the internet that he's done this. This is fine. But so many parents are like, thank you so much. Like, this has helped me. And dads are like, oh great, so I can hang out with my kid and be a goofball. I'm like, yeah. If anything I want to take out, show people is, yes, be a goofball as long as you can. Like, being a parent is the biggest excuse to be a big kid for as long as possible. And I think How to Dad kind of shows that by being an idiot and a goofball with his kids in most of the videos. So that's pretty cool.
It's been such a cool 8 years going out on your own.
I hate how you keep saying 8 years. I like to think like, only 2 years ago, man, it was viral and popping off.
Yeah, but I just think it's so impressive how you've sort of just snowballed it, and it's just continued, and the work ethic involved in not missing a Monday and videos every day. But that was my question. Like, are there times when it feels like a job? Like, from the outside, you're working from home, you're working your own hours, you're creating things, but are there times when you're like, fuck, I really don't want to do a video this week?
A lot of the time. Yep, a lot of the time. Never got close to, you'll always see dramatic YouTube thumbnails of like blowout. I've had blowout.
I quit.
Not talking about jandals, but yeah, why I quit. I do piss take ones of that. It's over. We'll do one every year. People have caught on now, but like, it's Christmas time, so I don't shoot for a month over school break. Like, from Christmas to January, there's no content comes out. I always take a whole month off. But our last video right before Christmas will always be like, this is it. And it's always a look back of the year. And I'm like, and we'll be back in a month. Oh, but people fall for it, man. It's always like the biggest views video. But I love those ones where I'll purposely make fun of the clickbait, and I do them all the time. I need my wife. One of the biggest videos last year was a message to my wife, please stop sleeping around. Everyone clicks on it. It's just me real serious. And all I was talking about is how she just moves around in the bed so much, sleeping around in all these different positions. And this is how it's morphed, where for the first 2 years I was so freaking out that I could never be anything different than the how-to guy. Like, I have to be how-to videos. And then these new ideas pop up and I try them and they do great. And I'm like, great, boom, another layer of the onion has exploded and I'm free to come up with other stuff. So like these wife version clickbait style ones. I've done the difference between New Zealand and other countries, which was a real good series. I did a how to sports series where I just went around like the All Blacks and just went to people direct. Kieran Reid was the captain of the All Blacks at the time, had just had spinal surgery, hadn't come back. And I messaged him, hey bro, I'd love to do a video with you, rugby, how to rugby. And I need you to tackle me real hard in it. He's like, I've just had spinal surgery, but we'll figure it out. And on the day, So he's had Crusaders training. And so I've met him on a backfield. He's like, they can't see me, I'll get in trouble. We shoot this video and I'm like, you got to tackle him. He's tackling me. He's not doing it hard enough. He's like, the back. I was like, go on, bro, you can do it. And he hit me real hard. And both of us looked up like, have you just done your back? And he's like, nah, I think I'm good. And so I'm ready to fly back home. And he's just like, oh, mate, want to go Burger Fuel? And I'm just pinching myself like, holy shit, the All Blacks captain just invited me to Burger Fuel. And I can't remember what we're talking about, but that was a real cool moment.
No, that's cool.
That's a
I want
great
to talk
story.
about that, like normalizing these pinch yourself moments. Like that must happen. Do you get used to it? Like the celebrity culture in New Zealand where you must have met pretty much everyone
Yeah.
in the game at this point.
Everyone's a normal person just like you. Apart from the 2 or 3 in New Zealand that definitely think that their shit don't stink and they're way better than everyone else. But everyone's just a normal person. I've learned that real quickly. Like I don't get these people who run up to people for photos or anything. Even before I was How to Dad, like if I saw Sean Johnson or even let's say your biggest, if bloody Michael Jackson was alive and walked past, I'm not going to scream and run over and be like, can I get a photo?
Is that because of the allegations?
Mainly that. But I've never been that person. And I remember it's like this unspoken, it's almost like this unspoken celebrity rule in New Zealand where I saw Sean Johnson in an airport. This is like 3 years ago. And I saw him and he nodded at me and you almost knew straight away that you both knew each other and you don't have to say anything. And we both went in and bro shaked and just start talking about family because he knows I'm not a fan. I was inside, I'm fizzing.
Yeah.
But he knows I was just going to talk about normal shit. Like I wasn't like, oh, can I get a photo? And oh my God, are you playing this? I was just like, hey bro, how's it going? And I feel like that's the unspoken rule in New Zealand. Like if you're anywhere on the celebrity ladder and you see any person on the celebrity ladder, you can just go and if you're out in the public and you can just go and have a yarn.
If you want to do it through video content, all you need is 500 million views
to
get to that level.
But I did that the cricket game. I did the cricket game and met like all these cricketing heroes and rugby heroes in one night. Had them all we did a court session and I'm just sitting there like, holy shit, these are all just regular people and this is effing fucking awesome. And that was Kyle Mills and Brendan McCullum and Stephen Fleming and Will.
What was your cricket pedigree before that game?
Nothing at all.
Yeah, it showed.
we had a this is the Black Clash and I was the wild card and the email comes through, hey John, we'd love you to be the wild card in this year's Black Clash. And my honest reply was, I think you got the wrong person. I don't play cricket. I've never played cricket. And they're like, nah, it'll be fine. You'll be fine. And I'm like, yeah, fuck, sounds great. Let's do this. And I remember 2 weeks out, my mates are ribbing the shit out of me. That a lot of them played cricket. And so I start going to my local nets, trying to get the arm over. And I'm setting them, I've got my iPhone set up and I'm sending them videos. I'm like, look at this hole over. I've sped it up. I hit the wickets every time. That's amazing. I think I'm there. I've done it. And then we get there a day before the big event and you have a meet and greet. And we did lawn bowls and you meet everyone, which is great. And then we had a day in the nets or an afternoon in the nets. And I'm like nervous as shit. Everyone's around. And they're, all right, Jordan, off you go.
Full bush shirt, stubbies, shandals?
Nah. Well, there's no cameras. There's nothing dramatic happening. I think I was stubbies. I know I had stubbies and I had sneakers on. I had to have sneakers. And I run in and I bowl. And Stephen Fleming, he took me under his wing like I was his weirdly his weird son that had no idea what was going on. And I bowl and he just comes up, hey Jordan, so you know how, can you just show me, can you get your arm to touch your ear? And I go like this. And he's like, can you not? And I was like, yeah, sort of, it just hurts. He's like, so when you bowl, try and make sure your arm brushes your ear. I was like, it was. He's like, it wasn't, mate. It was like on a 45-degree angle out from your body. And so then the whole nets is like everyone trying to mother me and help me. And I was like, I'm in a bad play. Everyone's just like, anyway, Kyle Mills and Dan Vittori didn't come to this pre-day. So we only met them in the sheds the day of. And Kyle Mills walks in. I've never met him. And I'm in his team cricket. He's like, oh, hey, man, you're joining the wild card. Yeah. He's like, are you betting? I was like, nah, man, I think they'll have me way down the list. I've never played cricket in my life. And you just saw him, like, he laughed like I was joking. And then I was like, nah, I haven't. And you just saw him be like real perplexed, look at me like, why the fuck are you here then? Are you here to, because they all like to think it's a laugh, but they're all secretly want to win that thing. Yeah. But yeah, had my,
fuck, that's so funny.
Had my over and met my heroes.
Did you
all
bat?
In one night. No, I didn't bat. I had my one over.
Shay had on this list Jordan at Black Clash. And this morning I was like, hey bro, what's this about Jordan and the Black Clash? It didn't come up in my notes. He's like, yeah, it was not great, man. I don't know.
It was great for me.
Yeah. What was it like? I heard it's just a big piss up, right? Like you just go down there and people reconnect and they enjoy each other's company. Piss up's a bad way to phrase it. It's reconnecting old friendships and a chance to have a weekend away.
We get there, and because we're all on the celebrity ladder, there's a lot of just cocaine, methamphetamine, a lot of illegal like backdoor stuff from Mexico coming in. Basically, it's a lot of middle-aged ex-sportsmen who are like, this is their biggest night of their lives. But you don't look at them like that because they're legends. These are legendary middle-aged sportsmen getting together. And yeah, there's a few beers. We went lawn bowls, had a few beers. You wake up the next day quite groggy. The whole of team cricket is meant to meet at the nets at 10 a.m. and the whole of team rugby is to meet at some other nets at 10 a.m. Only 3 of the team cricket showed up, me, Fleming, and one other, McCullum, not Brendan, but Nathan. And all the team rugby showed up. All these middle-aged cricket legends are still in bed just texting, won't make it to the nets, guys. But then the day of the game comes up and it all gets very serious. And but awesome to see how they've still got it. Like, holy shit. And I'm out there, like, freaking out. People are there. Like, inside, I'm freaking out.
Because
I've never played cricket, bro.
Big crowd as well.
Yeah, massive crowd. I don't even know where to stand, what I'm doing. McCullum, Fleming just looks at me, and you know he's taking that face. He's like, don't worry, mate. I'll look after you. Come out here. Stand in. Apologies if I say the wrong word. Go stand in slips. But I'm right in the dead zone. Like if there's a nick, I'm like, I've never played cricket in my life. My reactions is just going to be a cricket ball to the face and death. He's like, nah, mate, you're in the safest spot. And left me there for a few overs. And then like having to change every over, I'm like running the wrong way. People are like, where are you going? So I got put out on a boundary. And even there, it's all the running between overs. Like, gosh, you got to be fit to play cricket. Yeah. But I bowled my one over and only went for 19. Some guy went for 23, all right? Yeah. So I'm proud that
We'll look that up. We'll look that up.
Yeah,
we'll look up who went for 23.
Do look. It's, my bowling went out. Everything I learnt went out the window. Because the hardest thing was, I just remember I couldn't see the line, like the line of where you have to bowl from. So I did a comical run up on the first one. But then for the rest, I was like, I'll sprint up. But I'm like, I can't see the line. So I was bowling from like 2 meters back, freaking out that I was going to get. But luckily, no balled.
I'm glad that came up organically. That's great. Thank you.
And then we had a court session, and it was the greatest night. It was one of the greatest nights ever.
As per court session rules, we'll leave that in.
You can't really tell
in the
much.
change room.
Yeah, cricketers, All Blacks, and Graham Henry all having a good time.
So the latest part of the How to Dad journey is a new podcast, the Parenting Hangover, which is great. I've listened, I think 3 episodes out, 4.
Yeah, 4th tomorrow.
I've listened, I've heard about circumcision, childbirth, kid stories. I think it's an area where there's a big gap in the market for dads to talk about these things. You bring humour to it. It's insightful. How did that come about, and how's that experience been?
I've known Clint from ZM for like a decade on and off through the Jono and Ben world. He had a radio show with Guy. We used to prank him a lot. And he reached out with the idea. Probably 2 weeks before, I had gone out and bought podcast gear. I was ready to I don't even know what my idea was. I can't even think. How to pod, yeah. And I bought some simple podcast gear because I think I need to jump on this. I need to do something in this podcast world. And then 2 weeks later, Clint's like, hey, we should do this. And I was like, this is a way better idea. So, this is took 6 months to plan and get off the ground. But now it's up and running, and it's bloody awesome. It's like dads around the water cooler talking about parenting stuff that hopefully other parents out there, it's not just for dads. Like, we have a good amount of mums tuning in and listening and messaging us, which is cool. So it's for parents just to relate to. And look, we're these celebrity dads, and look, we're doing it just as rough and making it up as everyone else out there is.
That's the point, right? It's normalizing.
Yeah,
normalizing
100%.
mistakes and normalizing the parenting journey.
We talk about the everyday stuff and just how's things going, how's life, what's happened this week, and then we usually have a good topic that we kind of chunk into, and it's always with a bit of fun and entertainment. We're not there to give you advice because we're not that. We don't have a degree in how to raise a kid.
How's the initial feedback been?
Award-winning, probably up for 2 Tony Awards and Academy.
Shit, we'll see you at the awards next year.
Yeah. Oh, no shit. Here he is, hey. You guys just bloody won one, didn't you?
Look.
Little plug there.
We don't like to talk about
Little plug there.
Embarrassing that came up.
Whoops.
Whoopsie.
After this, I'm grilling you guys on what I need to do.
Yeah. Just do what you do. That's all. That's all.
Good advice. Is this added to the weekly hamster wheel? Like, is it seasons, or are you just going to keep ticking it along weekly?
Right now, I think it's weekly. It was meant to be like 10 eps and then chill, and I know that Clint's just like, let's just keep going. And right now, we're still getting into the rhythm of it and figuring it out. It is another project into the How to Dad world. Like, again, trying to make a living off being an internet guy. You've got to have your fingers in a lot of pockets. So I've got the brand stuff. You get a bit from YouTube, a bit from Facebook, a bit from Golden, maybe a bit from podcasts, because everyone knows that's a hard one to monetize. But yeah.
The How to Dad universe, it's quite cool. It's quite cool, all the different things that you have going on.
Yeah, there's been a lot. There's been a lot of things we've tried, a lot of things that go away. I remember we talked to like a US production company for like a year, getting a TV show off the ground, and that went away. And there's a lot of passion projects on the side that you're trying to do, and sometimes it's hard. There's so many passion projects that get emailed to you, and I always have to be real. I feel so bad, but I almost have to just write these people back like, I got a mortgage. I got 3 kids. I have no time to be taking on passion projects unless you can show me that we can monetize this straight away. Like, unless it's worth my time financially, which is such a sad way to be. But I was like, yes, give me 10 more years where I'm real set up. And I'm like, yeah, I'm good. My mortgage is ticking over. I got good income from Facebook, YouTube. I don't have to do so much brand stuff. I'm ready for your passion projects. But right now, I'm still hustling. We're still trying to. It's one of those things you've got to keep your foot on the accelerator and going, because I don't have a weekly income coming in. You don't know when the next brand or something dramatic happens in the media world and brands just are like, nah, we don't want to use online people anymore. I'd be up shit creek. I'd be coming here as the 3rd host. How do you like that, guys? This is the warm, velvety tones of Dylan Watson.
I think that for me, what you've done is really inspirational. It's no secret. It's what we would love to do in 8 years' time, look back and have a Between Two Beers universe. But it comes with consistently hitting those videos when you don't want it, working, doing 9 to 5 when no one's putting pressure on you to do it. But when you look back at what you've created, are you filled with immense pride? Like, are you able to say how proud you are of what you've achieved essentially by yourself?
Yeah, I'd say the proudest moment is, in a nutshell, is to look back and be like, I remember thinking, I'm not going to just be the one-hit wonder. Even when we started How to Dad, don't be a one-hit wonder. Stick with it, see where it goes. And yeah, when you look back, that's the line now. It wasn't a one-hit wonder. We made it into a thing, a big thing. And it's my thing. That's the coolest thing. I don't have a boss. Like, I can wake up, have a silly idea, and I can film it that day. And if I'm fast, I can have it out on the internet that night. And it's such a cool little rush still. Like, you can just have that little spike of, oh, look at this. Look, 63 people have done a little smiley crack up face on that one. Great. I'm happy.
Yeah. I said at the top, you might have the most unique job out of anyone we've talked to, but it's such a cool job. Yeah, you should be really proud.
Hey, thanks, man.
Did you have a few little bits and pieces before I read this beautiful quote out?
The only one little bit, which was remiss of us, your Te Kaupata upbringing is close enough to qualify you for Hambassador status, which is a movement that we've started, which is people...
I have heard about this.
You have, yeah. Would you be willing to lend your significant A-list celebrity towards endorsing Hamilton any opportunity that you get? Or if someone shitbags the town, just go, it's not as bad as you remember.
Well, Te Kaupata more kind of falls in like the county's Manukau area.
Okay.
So we're on the border. We've been very mistaken. It was hard growing up. A lot of confusion of where...
Well, I know you wanted to distance yourself from Huntly.
Again, we're trying to get away from Huntly like the plague. But then Huntly every day to college had about 6 buses showing up and dropping off Huntly kids to Te Kaupata College, because at the time Huntly College was terrible. And then are we in the Waikato area? We got the river real close, Waikato River. But then we're playing rugby in the county's Manukau provincial tournament.
Okay.
So it's a confusing time. So I can't throw all my weight behind.
Whoa.
I can't throw my height because I'm not a true...
Morrinsville College, though.
Yeah, but Morrinsville's was only a...
Hey, man, don't force it, all right?
Yeah,
he said no. He said no. Just
one thing I will say to build Hamilton right up,
Here we
and
go.
this is always my big speech to anyone, is we've all been 18, 19, 20 and gone clubbing, right? And I've lived in Tauranga, I've lived in Morrinsville, and I've lived in Auckland. And in those years, I've gone clubbing, right? In all these areas. Hamilton, hands down, is the best out of all.
Mm-hmm.
Auckland looked down you with a big long nose. Tauranga, everyone had flat peaks and wanted to fight you as soon as you walked into the grumpy mole. Hamilton, you could be who you wanted to be, and it was embraced.
That's beautiful.
What a town.
That's all we needed.
We're gonna put some
Put
inspirational
the
music behind
there.
that. Yeah.
I had a dream.
That's all we needed.
That is lovely. Okay, I'm going to tee up Shay for the big outro, but I'm going to do the mini outro. We actually went to Jodie, How to Mum, and asked her, what is it about Jordan that has made him so successful and so sort of widely loved and adored? And she said, Jordan is insanely talented. He has this massive creative brain that constantly writes scripts and skits in his head. You could give him one idea and he'll hit you back with 10 better ones. He has an amazing work ethic, which has come from his TV days, and even though he's his own boss, he still makes himself work an 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. day. I think he's been successful by being consistent, genuine, relatable, and funny. His audience love a good laugh, and that's what he gives them. And I think that pretty well sums your success up. The hundreds of millions of people that keep coming back, they are relating to that authenticity, that fun, that humour. You've created so much for so many. So well done, but I'm not the outro guy.
You can reflect on that if you want.
Oh no, it's like she's known as being the crier. She cries at everything. I'm not a teary-uppery guy, and I almost teared up comically the other day as we went to a school teacher meeting, and they're telling us about our kid. She's right there, and I'm like, if I looked at my wife, I would have broken down. I was like, holy shit, it's happening. I'm fine. I'm softening up. And during that, just then, I got all goosebumps and had to break it down. So look, I'm getting softer in my older age, but that was very nice words. Thank you.
Well, I think she's spot on. And for me, I've been super excited to have you on, because for us learning what we're trying to do, there aren't really that many benchmarks. It's kind of the Wild West and uncharted territory from us. But to have researched your story and then to listen to you, it's really, really inspiring and uplifting to see that it can be done, and to have the perseverance and determination and commitment to what you do is really admirable. And there's 4 words in there: consistent, genuine, relatable, and funny, which are universally great traits to have. And I like to think that we share those with you. And if we can walk in the big golden jandal printed footsteps that you're leading with, in 8 years' time, we'll be in a very, very cool place. So thank you for leading the way, and thank you for just being an inspiration for kind of content creators to follow suit.
Hey, cheers, mate. Just get yourselves a couple of cute little 4-month-old babies now. Prop them in your arm for the next step. You guys are going to go through the roof.
Cheers, Jordan.